Vincent.
Hi there. I'm Vicente Wolf, and we are live. I hope I am live. We're having a little difficulties with TikTok, but we're working on it. The crew of hundreds of people are working on that. So I thought this would be a good way for us to share with each other, with your questions, my answers, and hopefully we both learn from each other in what is important to you all out there and what sort of answer I can come up with. So we're ready for the first question.
I'm starting the first question. Can you tell us a little bit about the room we're in right now and what's on the wall behind you?
We're sitting in my conference. The question is, what room are we sitting in and what are the things around me? We're sitting in my conference room, and behind me is my collection of photography, part of my collection of photography. They're Russian avant-garde, surrealist, French, 1960s American, all different types of images that I've been collecting for the last 40 years. What's in this room are my pick of the crop. And as you can see, maybe you can or not, Diane Arbus, the nude lady with the glasses, and just the pictures that I really, really love. Next question.
Okay, well, we've got our first question here. Someone wrote in, what is your process and how do you get your ideas?
How do I get my ideas? We'll start there, because before the process starts is the idea. I really take it from what the client wants, what the space looks like, what's the lighting in the space, and most important, how do they live? Are they, very formal? Are they more relaxed? Most of my clients are very relaxed. And so those are the things that set the norm of the design. And then from there, what is it that they're looking for? The inspiration, I work fully on gut. So when I am designing something, it just sort of, it's a thread. And you're always looking for the thread. Once you get the thread, then you start following it. I'm working right now in the job in Arizona. So I started with what's outside of the house, what are the elements, and the client asked for white. She wanted everything in white. So it's giving her a white space, but then trying to think of natural elements that will tie the inside of the house to the exterior. So for that, I start thinking, looking at not contemporary design books, but more older books from the 50s and 30s. Just looking for the thing that starts the ball rolling. In this particular case, I bought a chair in the south of France like 25 years ago. And I love the lines of the chair. So I am taking that and starting to create what the upholstery is going to look like. And it goes like that, and just slowly it keeps, I'm balancing, here's something modern, straight line, then what can I put against it that has a more cruder quality to it. So that's how I start to balance, and that's how the creative process develops.
Before we ask our next question, I just want to know, where has that chair been for the last 25 years?
Well, I bought it in an antique shop in Aix-sur-le-Serge. It was a flea market in the south of France, and it's sitting in my bedroom in Montauk. It's very sort of 60s, very square, and it's completely wrapped in suede. I bought it there, dragged it to Paris, had it shipped. It was a lot of work to get it back to New York, but it's so elegant and it's so timeless. So I've always loved it.
Okay, the next question that somebody wrote in is, what is your limit on a budget? When is a budget too low, and how can I figure out if my budget is enough to hire you?
I think people look at a designer's work and they're judging by what they see. Good design doesn't have a price. You can really design a room. The New York Times came to me years ago of a budget of $5,000 to create a room. And we were able to do it, not that I want jobs that are $5,000, but I thought that it was interesting to do it because you have to show people that price has nothing to do with good taste or good design. And so I was able to create that room and had a lot of drama to it. So when clients come to me, I've had clients that say, well, I would never have come to you because I thought you would be too expensive. I just want the amount of money to be able to create the environment that the client is hoping to get. The commission is the same. Most designers all charge the same amount of money. So it's not that I'm going to charge way above what other people charge. It's what the cost of the environment is and how elaborate the room is, how much are you doing to it. Most of my rooms are very simple, so there's less stuff to say inside. It's just the right balance of elements all put together.
Okay, this is one of my follow-ups again. Have you ever had a budget that's too big? Is there such a thing?
Have I ever had a budget? You know what they say, you're never too thin or too rich. A budget too big. And one day I say to the client, please sir, I don't want to spend that much money. No, I've never had that happen, unfortunately. I really have not had that many clients that say, just whatever it costs, do it. I have friends that are designers and they get that line. Maybe it's because the work that I do is, not to say it's conservative, because I don't think the spaces are conservative, but most of my clients are very low-key, and they want comfort, they want spaces that are elegant but relaxed. The new word is the new modern quiet elegance. And I think that most of those enormous budget spaces are people who are trying to blow it all in front of their friends and guests. My clients usually don't do that. Though, if you're out there, I am ready to spend your money if you want.
I didn't, it scrolled by too quickly for me to write it down, but somebody who started with MFITS asked about your go-to performance fabric.
A friend of mine, Tim Gordon, was really the first one to start using more and more indoor-outdoor fabrics. Now, that job in Arizona that I was talking about, all is indoor and outdoor. And the fabrics now don't look any different than just indoor fabrics. And I think that it is the direction. I think everybody wants a more relaxed way of living. They don't want people to feel like, oh, I better not sit there because it'll get dirty. And why not? People have dogs, have children, spill things. I certainly do. No children, just a cat, and I spill things. So I think that you have to really try to make your life as easy as possible. And if using a light colored fabric is what you want, then look for performance fabric and you'll be able to have your cake and eat it too.
We have another question about the wing chair. You have a couple of designs for your own wing chairs, and how did you come up with that design, and how often do you use it?
I think part of, not my creative process, but of my style, is to look to the past, find objects that can be reinterpreted in a contemporary way. When I designed for Hendrik on in '90, a big ottoman with a wooden frame that you could put a tray on and use it as a coffee table in a ottoman, that was something that I looked at from the past in the certainly in the 19th century and the late 18th century. Didn't have cocktail tables. They had little, table of ottomans that they would put things on it. So I took that idea and reinterpreted it in a contemporary way. Same as with mirrors. The wing chair, I wanted to create a wing chair that when you were sitting in it, you were like overwhelmed. I separated the arm from the back by giving it a more sculptural quality. I did the legs in stainless steel to give it, again, a modern slant to it. I think that they're great pieces of furniture, and I think they work great in spaces where you want to be engulfed and you want to just feel in a library, in a master bedroom, where you want to be like cocooned. That's the best, for me, the best place to use large-scale wing chairs. Next.
Well, this is another follow-up. I have heard you express very strong opinions about what is good upholstery and what is not good upholstery. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So, any piece of upholstery that's finished 10 hours ago will look great. I think good upholstery is an investment. And you say, well, but I don't want that sofa after 3 years. But if it's a beautifully scaled, wonderfully made piece of furniture, it can be reupholstered. It can be slipcovered. And it starts with, what is the frame? Is it the right strong wood that will take people, sitting in it, up, moving the sofa? It's what is the feeling, the filling. The feeling should be good, but the filling, I like down and foam that gives it resiliency on the cushions, but has a softness to it. How is it being put together with staples or with nails? Staples rip. A good nail, my upholsterer, they have them in their mouths and they're hammering it in. And how they sit, how they look, is really, you can tell if a garment has been well made. You don't have to turn it inside out to know that. It speaks of the quality. And I think great upholstery really makes a difference in the room. How those cushions, they're not welted, which means that they're trying to hide how it gets put together. Beautiful upholstery really makes a big difference in the space. I think it's worth the investment.
Here we've got something from Caroline or Carolyn, and I think that what she's asking or saying is that she has a black Duncan Fife dining table. What should she do about a sideboard?
Well, it's how do you want to live? For me, to have a completely traditional room there's a fakery to it. It's a thematic environment. So try to think of a server that has cleaner lines, it doesn't mean that it has to be looking, very modern. It just has to have clean lines. Think of not dark wood again. but maybe it can be a color, it can be lacquered, it could be wrapped in parchment or in chagrin. Companies like Restoration Hardware have great, very clean line, simple pieces of furniture that you can put with that and bring a sort of a youthfulness to the environment.
Talk a little more about youthfulness in the environment. That's something that you have always tried to maintain in your work.
Well, I think in my case it has to do with maturity. So my spaces have never, I have been doing it for close to 50 years. And you don't want to be judged by your age as a creative person. You want to be judged by your creativity and what you're putting out in your work. So I think that to have the concept that to design young, you have to be young. No, what it requires is vision, a point of view, and an understanding of progress, of evolution of design. Because the more you know, the more you can expand your point of view. And that is something that I really, truly believe in.
I think we just got a note that we're having trouble hearing.
So we're going to move closer to you a little bit.
We're going to move closer. Okay? Can you hear us?
Now you've got to lean in.
I have to
This is
lean in.
This is your leaning in moment.
Okay, the intimate moment.
Yes.
Yes.
What
It's
is?
nice holding a pen. It gives you something.
Yeah,
to
something
do.
to do with your hands.
Yeah.
Next time we'll get you a fidget spinner so you can,
Uh-huh.
play with that. Other than the wing chair, what is your favorite kind of chair, and why is it your favorite?
I love swivel chairs. I think they work great in living rooms so you can swing around and talk to different people in the spaces. I don't like seating that goes too low. I prefer 18 inches from the floor. I think when it goes to 14, you get in there, but to get out is another problem. I like mixing the combination of Edwardian, which are more classic pieces of upholstery, with contemporary ones. I think, again, it's that yin and yang, it's old and new. I think it gives longevity to a space. When every piece of furniture in the room looks the same, I think you're going to reach the point that you're going to say, I'm over this look. And you really don't want to do that, because then you have to get rid of everything. You want a space that 10 years from now looks as good as it did the first day it got put together.
You've had a couple of chairs in the past that, other than the one that you talked about that you got in France. I think you mentioned possibly in one of your books that there was a Billy Baldwin chair that you discovered. Was it Billy Baldwin?
It's a slipper chair. He did, again, if any of you know his work, he crossed that line between traditional and contemporary. He was able to use clean line elements in traditional spaces compared to somebody like David Hicks that used contemporary lines in different way in a traditional space. He made traditional spaces look contemporary, where Bolden made more transitional pieces become more classic. So it's a slipper chair, it's an armless chair that works, again, great in living rooms, so you can just sort of, it's more casual, you don't have the arms, you can turn it left or right. I collect chairs, I love chairs. I think that, they bring to a space of different types of personalities. That's why I like chairs around the dining table to be different. So it's not, looks like a suite of furniture. So whoever walks into that room can pick the style that appeals to them. I'm not saying all 8 chairs should be different, but maybe have 2 different styles mixed together, a more traditional with a contemporary one. I think it brings some humor, it keeps that room alive, even if people are not in it.
Here's one, scrolling across. Where are you going? Have you been able to resume travel since COVID? And where are you going this year?
That is a topic I love. Actually, in August, I'm going to Berlin for the next for 4 days. But in December is when I take my vacation. And so I'm going back to Egypt. I was in Egypt 2 years ago. And I'm going back. I'm going with Margaret Russell, a friend, and we're going to go explore things that maybe either one have not seen before. From there, I'm going to Chad, which is in northern Africa, spending 7 days in a rough type of environment, sleeping in tents and, just really the anti-glamping sort of experience. And then from there I'm going to Namibia, which I've been to before, but it is so beautiful, and I want to visit the Skeleton Coast there, which it's literally what it is. All these skeletons come up to the beach, and you see whales and seal skeletons and tortoise skeletons. I mean, it's really miles and miles and miles of just beach with all these shipwrecks, and it's just really incredible. And then from there I'm going to Bali, and from Bali to Thailand, and then back to New York to work. I wish I could be traveling all the time, but I think it's good to step away and clear your head, be re-inspired, feel young because you're learning new things, and then bring them back and subliminally incorporate them into your lifestyle and into your design.
Plants and greenery. What do you think about fake greenery?
Fake greenery? Well, I love plants. I mean, my apartment looks like a jungle. I just came back from Hawaii and I bought this little stick that you're supposed to plant and a tree grows from it. And there it is, it's growing. I have jasmine growing. I have plants that I have had for 35, 40 years. I think plants, for a long time I never used trees in my work. I'm starting to again, because I think it brings a sculptural quality. I think it brings life to it. And there's certain plants that are really easy to maintain. And I think that to incorporate it into your space, I think brings a life to your room. And I hate fake plants. Though succulents, plastic succulents look so real, and I use them when I do jobs, I use them in bathrooms. And really, if you have some lime and you throw in a little plastic succulent, I think it looks great.
To continue on the bathroom, we have a question about mixed metals. Do you like mixing metals in the bathroom?
I like mixing metals in any room. I think, if you look at the jewelry you're wearing, I mean, I am wearing gold, I have stainless, and nobody questions, oh my God, you have a gold, steel to statuary bronze. They are bringing, a room is like a puzzle, and you want to fit all of them to create a picture. And the more that you are able to sort of travel through the design process and incorporate elements that are copacetic with each other, I think that the better the room is going to be.
It's 1:27, which means we have 3 minutes left. So I've got one last question, but anyone else should send in their questions. What are the new trends in design that you like and dislike, and why?
I don't think there are any trends in design right now. I think there's the freedom to do whatever you want. I don't know that we're not, trends come because of what's happening around us. And so I think people right now are looking for environments that are comfortable, environments that give them fire alarm at night. And I think that these, it's on the wall. See,
I think that might be our sign.
They're doing a test. That's just a test. We're okay.
Anyway, I don't think that trends are really breaking ground right now. I think it has to do with global thinking. I think more people are incorporating traditional pieces into the space, which I think is nice because for a long time, traditional pieces were dead, and I think it's a good time to find traditional pieces because their prices are still very low, whether it's an auction or antique shops or flea markets. I mean, people are looking for things that are going to make their space more individual, and I think that's a good way of doing it.
Okay, and our last question.
Last question.
Yes, you talked a little bit before about designing young and how your rooms appeal to young people and people across a range. Is there anything special that you do when you're designing for older clients?
No, everybody wants to feel viable. Everybody wants to feel part of society. Everybody wants to feel in rooms that are not thematic and not caught in the past. Somebody just came to me yesterday. They've been living in this apartment, beautiful apartment on Fifth Avenue, the same way for 35 years. And so we're going to take some of the things they have, some of the things we're going to bring in. It's not going to rip it apart and make it completely different than what they have, but we're trying to bring that apartment to the present, to a modern point of view. And I think that they're going to be much happier instead of living in the past to be living in the present. And I think everybody wants that. Nobody wants to be caught in time warp. Though I went to a Pink Floyd concert over 4th of July, and God, that was a time warp. But not in your home. You want your home to speak of who you are at this moment and not who you were 10 years ago. So next time, let's have more questions. And I think this is great. It gets me out of working and it gets me to share with people, and I think that's a good thing. So you all have a nice rest of the week and a good weekend. Bye.